Hey guys, today for the first time since my career video, I'm going to have a guest on the channel, being Raito6. Go check him out as he makes fire content just like me and hosts live streams every Tuesday, which is a good time. Now onto the video. Today we will go head to head with our predictions of the new Gen 11 positions. So I will review them when we see all of them reviewed, so stay tuned for that, being a video for another day. So before that, join the Discord to keep up with me and other BlueLock fans, and I now have YouTube memberships if you want to help support the channel grow. You can do any of the free tiers you desire. The perks should be on screen for you to view, or if you press the join button you can see them as well. Thanks Blue Flames for being the first member. If you broke, just subscribing and watching the video will do me a world of good as well. Now onto the video. So first, let's start with the goalkeeper. China. For the goalkeeper, I believe he is going to be in China because of the whole Great Wall of China, and I still believe this would have been the guy who completely shut out Japan in the U20 AFC final. I believe we will get a Sendo and IQ backstory when we get into the U20 World Cup. As Kaneshiro stated, Sendo would get character development in this arc, and with IQ trying to make Sendo the best striker in the world, I believe they will face China and Sendo will have to overcome the Great Wall of China in this match. The second reason is because of Shaolin Soccer. I mean, the Team Puma goalkeeper was just on absolute demon time. And I know he is similar to Gagamao and we already have Gagamao, but seeing another goalkeeper who pulls off even more insane feats would just be an insane feat show off. That would be really cool to see. Now to see who Raito chose.
Yo, what's good everyone? I'm Raito6. And I'm wearing glasses to make myself look smarter, because first impressions are everything. Hope you guys are ready for my new Gen 11 predictions, because it took me at least 77 hours of extensive research and analysis. So in other words, this list is based on pure, unadulterated speculation and zero deductive reasoning whatsoever. Anyways, let me not waste your time and get straight into it. So I'm operating on a 4-4-2 formation because I believe we get another forward. And no, I don't think it's Loki, because as far as we know, he's not a new Gen 11 player. He's already a grade above. Now let's start off with the goalkeeping position. And I've actually chosen France for this position. I know guys, it's a little left field, but there's a method to the madness in this one. The reason why I chose France is because, like I said earlier, I don't think Loki is a new Gen 11. And neither do I think Charles is a new Gen 11. So unless I'm wrong in my thinking, then that means that France have a new Gen 11 who's neither of those two. And so I think it's a goalkeeper. Because adding another crazy outfield player on the France team just seems a little overkill in my opinion. And so to even it out a little, the goalkeeper will have to be that crazy player that tries to minimize the BlueLock's scoring opportunities. We should make the game between France and Japan a very interesting affair indeed.
Left back, Egypt. To be honest, I'm really happy we got some African focus in BlueLock, and yeah, I actually have Egypt as left back. Loki is already confirmed to be a new Gen 11 as of the panel we see, and even if we don't, I believe Egypt will not be a winger position for the new Gen 11. However, the way I see this going is being an enhanced version of Miwoku Darai, where he can stop off the ball movements like Darai, but even better as he would be able to keep track of Metavision users, as I believe he'll be a Metavision user as well. This would be like an Egyptian pharaoh god taking control of the pitch. I would love for him to be a massive wall in Barou and Isagi's way. There was a TikTok from Ahmed Sko that also talked about Salah playing a wingback position before becoming a winger and later joining Brazil, then Chelsea, then Roma, and his current club Liverpool. So a nice tribute to that would be cool to see. Now on to Raito.
Next, the right back. And I've chosen Morocco for this one, and I think it's obvious why. Based on the absolute Chad Achraf Hakimi, who's currently one of the best right backs in the world, I simply think that similar to Loki's Mbappe parallel, we get a Hakimi and a Moroccan right back parallel too.
Right back, Morocco. Honestly, there's not much for this explanation for this one. I'm basing this off of Achraf Hakimi, which means he is going to be more primarily as a right wing back who consistently assists the offense, locks down his flank, and mocks Spanish people's celebration like a penguin. Would be also funny if he was friends with Loki like how Mbappe and Hakimi are in real life. I could see him giving Chigri problems as Hakimi is pretty fast himself. Just look at the race between him and Mbappe in the 2022 World Cup. This would be like an upgraded Yukimiya versus Nero, but instead it's a speed attacker versus a speed defender. I could see him stopping Chigri from using the 44-degree golden zone just by himself, making Chigri have to awaken in this match. Now on to Raito.
At the left back, I have China. Now, this is just a case of drawing the short straw, because let's be real, nobody wants to play fullback, especially left back in the changing rooms. But someone has to do it, and I think it's gonna have to be our local Chinese man.
Center back, Italy, Don Lorenzo. This is the first confirmed position we have in this list so far. We've been introduced to him since chapter 209, thanks to Reddit users Seiko Tobifanas. We know he is a defender based on Alessandro Bastoni due to his modern day defensive style with W interceptions and a big defensive presence, and it can also help build up plays for the attack. He physically looks like Giovanni Di Lorenzo and has his last name too, and the way Chiellini smiles, yeah, that's some damage right there with those golden teeth. As to what he will do in the U20 World Cup, I still predict he will play against Japan, and if they play in the group stage, I predict they will draw, and if they do it in the knockout stage, I can see him going into penalties with Japan. But if they do it in the group stage, I see it being a 1-1 or 0-0 game. He will play very differently without Snuffy, and especially since it's an international tournament, so even more eyes will be on the product, so more money means more Lorenzo screen time and more Lorenzo domination. I believe Lorenzo will try way harder than he did in the NEL, considering how European events, World Cup events get you so much more money than just a normal Premier League game. This will be bigger than the NEL, trust me. Let's get back to Raito, shall we?
Now to the centre backs. We already know Don Lorenzo holds one of those spots, but for the second spot, I'm putting an Englishman. Simply put, Lorenzo is the ball-playing centre-back and Mr. England is the ball-winning centre-back. He'll definitely be big, strong, aggressive, and I imagine a powerhouse in the air. Wouldn't surprise me if he gets a goal or two from a corner during the tournament. Seppi again, ole ole. Now with our backline sorted, let's sort out this midfield.
The other center back, the Statue of Liberty from USA. I'm predicting their player would be a defensive beast, as American athletes are always fit as hell and would be able to steal any balls in the end and would be the last shield, the Captain America, to stop attackers from scoring goals. He would be the ultimate shield to the goalkeeper, and he would actually be a really enhanced version of IQ. I could see him being the opposite to Sae, where he has a trash country just like Sae, but actually wants to carry the burden on himself to make the country great again. So his character has the potential to be really interesting. Now back to Raito.
Thankfully, we already know Sae's taking up a spot here as Japan's representative. Now, I'm not sure if Sae actually plays the U20 World Cup, and although I would love for him to play under a different nation like many have speculated, for the sake of this video, he's my Japan representative, since he's the only new gen we know of in Japan.
Center defensive midfielder, England. I believe thanks to BlueLock already having important new gen 11s in midfield for attack and a center back and a striker, it's really hard to fill the rest of these positions, especially in the midfield where there's not much of a difference between the midfielders. So the first one I'm going with is the center defensive midfielder. The midfield has no more interesting and compelling aspects that they can bring that's bigger than size. However, I am predicting this guy will be like a Jordan Henderson type of player, since Kaneshiro loves Liverpool. Heck, we even had Liverpool volume covers. So since this is the 2018-19 timeline when Liverpool won the Champions League and Henderson had his last peak season before declining, he might have had so. I think this defensive midfielder will be based on him.
As for his midfield partner, I have Brazil. Yeah, this will be our new Gen 11 Neymar. All the flair, all the skill, with that Brazilian tenacity and bravado. I fully expect this player to be one of the best in this lineup.
Offensive midfielder for Japan, Sae Itoshi. So yeah, after listening to AERO'S reasoning for why Sae should join the Spain U20 team, it's pretty much clear that he won't join Japan as they already have 23 players, and Iko was very adamant about the 23 players when Buratsuda wanted him to replace Nagi, which meant Buratsuda wasn't able to increase the cap slot from 23 to 24, so Sae won't join. And this would be the best sort of training Sae could get facing off against the best talents in the world to prepare for the Champions League. So I do believe Sae will participate, as Henry said, all the new Gen 11 will participate in this event. I could see him making quarterfinals where his team would lose to Julian Loki's French side in a stomping 4-1 result, where Sae would assist the new Gen 11 of Spain to score the first goal, while Loki destroys the rest of the team by scoring 4 goals by himself. We already know Sae is the offensive midfielder new gen, but to which country remains to be confirmed. But I'm sticking with the fact that he'll be still a Japanese new gen 11 who plays for Spain, because him playing for Spain makes more sense than Japan, since he actually has a roster spot there and Japan has no more roster spots for him. And you can't just switch what country of a new gen you are. You are a Japanese new gen 11. That's where you got the title from. There was already a Spanish new gen 11, and you can't just swap out players for the new Gen 11 positions. So I believe it's going to stay fixtured like that. Now, to how much he contributes to the story, we will have to wait and see.
Now, on to the right back. Yamin Lamal, please stand up. And no, I didn't say his name wrong. That's just what I'm calling the Spanish new Gen 11 right winger, who's gonna light up the tournament with his quick, direct and dazzling footwork, both creating and scoring chances for Spain. How funny would it be if he was actually a Real player too? Barca being done so dirty once again.
And speaking of Spain, let's continue with them, as the first winger we have is the right wing, and from Spain, Ferran Torres. Honestly, this one was the hardest one I had in mind, but I was so I just googled the best U20 players for Spain in 2019, as Yamal is still a little kid. So people who are saying that we're gonna get Yamal already is insane. Like, we're in the 2018-19 timeline. Yamal is not playing professional football at the degree of the U20 World Cup and the main Barcelona team, so calm down. But yeah, a player who was making work in 2019 in the U20 stage was Ferran Torres. So I believe that Spain will have 2 new Gen 11s, which will make it all the more shocking when Julian Loki destroys them in the knockout stages.
Now, supporting him on the left-hand side, I'm actually putting the Egyptian king. More in the mode of a Omar Marmoush rather than a Mo Salah. I imagine this player to be highly technical and also very selfish. Always looking to score goals with brilliant dribbling, being able to hold off his fullbacks in order to get into the box and curl it past the goalkeeper. And if that's not possible, he'll probably also have a monster long-range curler, even better than the 44-degree Panther snipe.
Left wing, Brazil. I would love to see some super chill Brazilian twins who have no hate in their body and just are in it for the love of the game, as Brazil loves and breathes football. One of them would be slightly better than the other, earning them the title of New Gen 11. I believe these twins will be a reference to the Atsumo twins, where obviously Mia was the better twin and people regarded him as so, and he was the one who actually keep up with his volleyball career all the way through. And Osamu, while good, did not reach the status level of his bigger brother. Wait, no, they're twins, sorry. But yeah, he gave up on football. He did drop volleyball after high school, unlike his twin brother. So I could see the one who's a new Gen 11 sticking to football his whole career, and the other one just dropping it midway through. But for this tournament, they will be beasts. And I can see them being the first team Japan placed in the knockout stage. There was no way I was going to make this list without putting Brazil on the winger position, with the greats like Neymar, Ronaldinho, Vinny Jr., cries a lot, and also much more. I'm really excited to see what this team does in the future.
Now, finally, to the most important position on the pitch. We already have the German Blue Rose Emperor leading the new gen forwards. But in my formation, Kaiser actually plays as the second striker, simply because being a Metavision user, he sees more than your average player and would be the perfect playmaking link-up man, if you could ever get him to actually agree to play the role. But just ahead of him, as the target man of the new Gen 11s, I'm putting the man from the States. Simple, quick, direct, no nonsense. I can see this player actually being a pure powerhouse, big and tall, able to drive directly at his centre backs, bulldozing past them to splash the ball as hard as humanly possible into the back of the net. And so that would be my new Gen 11 players' positions. And if I get it all right, make sure you clip this, because I might be psychic. And if my list is completely off and I get none of them right, unclip this. Anyways, I'm off now. So everyone, please take care. God bless. And back to you, Suki, bro.
Now for these two strikers. First is obviously going to be michealk Kaiser. We already have been confirmed to have him in the U20 World Cup. I believe he is going to have an interesting U20 World Cup since he only has Ness on his side. But this could work because he actually thrives in restriction. I honestly want him to win the whole tournament, but there's another side of me saying how that would make Loki the new big bad villain for the final World Cup if he loses. But that's the problem. That would be Noah's job, not Loki's job. I think Kaiser has to win this because Noah wants Kaiser to be his next big rival, not Loki, Kaiser, to challenge Noah for the #1 title, to be his next big challenge. That was the whole point of Noah joining the NEL in the first place, to make Kaiser a person who can give Noah a good fight in the years to come. And in the main World Cup, that will be the semi-final between Germany and France, where Noah will crush Kaiser, leaving only one person to bring a Fury to crush Noah. So I believe Kaiser will win the U20 World Cup, but get crushed by Noah in the main World Cup. Secondly is Julian Loki. I know they've never mentioned him to be a new Gen 11 throughout the BlueLock story, but if he can be a World 5 and a Master Striker and is only 17, I'm pretty sure we can give him the new Gen 11 title. It is perfect in his description. He has an individual world-class weapon in Godspeed, and his sprint overall. And the only other person who's in contention is Chigri, but they are worlds apart in terms of their way they use their speed. And we see him being mentioned for France when their other new Gen 11s were being mentioned. He meets the requirements perfectly for having an ability that is recognized by FIFA, all traits that make him stand out from his peers, and is already representing the main national team. If that doesn't speak new Gen 11, I don't know what does. But this is only speculation, so I could be wrong. But I still predict France to have a winger for a new Gen 11 of some sort. If not, it would have been a midfielder. But hey, I'm not gonna get them all right. Thank you so much, Raito, for collabing with me today. Let's see who gets their predictions right in the future. And until the next one, stay blessed. Suki out.